Hola, ¿cómo están? Soy Enrique Torre Molina y estamos aquí para ponernos una vez más en contexto. Hoy tenemos a nuestro primer invitado, que es Jason Marsden, el director de la Fundación Matthew Shepard. Jason, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Glad to
joining
be
us.
here.
Could you tell us, for those people who don't know about the Matthew Shepard Foundation, what you guys do?
Yes, the Matthew Shepard Foundation was created by Judy and Dennis Shepard, whose son Matthew was murdered in a hate crime in Laramie, Wyoming in 1998. And for many years since, his parents and the staff and our many supporters have worked to erase hatred and discrimination wherever possible by educating people and encouraging them to speak out in favor of equality for all people.
Okay. What is your connection to Matthew Shepard, to his family, and how did you get to work with them?
Matthew was a friend of mine. We were both young gay people in Casper, Wyoming, which is a small city in the Rocky Mountains. We're acquainted with each other through the very small community of LGBT people who were there. And at the time he was killed, I was a newspaper reporter and wrote a personal column about the impact of his death on myself, and came out as a gay man in writing that. And his parents were very kind to me in the wake of that, and I began to attend the foundation's events, and eventually they asked me to join the team.
Matthew's story and the work by the foundation has played a very important role in the LGBT movement, especially in the U.S., but also in other countries. What do you think of the current state of the LGBT movement? What do you think its greatest achievements have been recently? What do you think it's lacking? Where do you think it should go? What direction?
Well, we live in an extraordinary time for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered people, non-conforming people generally, and in this time in history have more freedom. They're afforded their dignity, and they're achieving political equality, and in some cases actual political power. And it's a very exciting time in most of the world. And we have supporters in dozens of countries around the world and hear from them directly. But obviously the ability for people to marry is one of the most pressing issues worldwide and has moved the fastest, but also generally human rights, criminal justice issues of equality have all moved forward. Unfortunately, there are also many parts of the world where things seem to be moving in the opposite direction, be that in the events that have been going on in Russia politically, certainly in many of the sub-Saharan African countries. Human rights for LGBT persons and for people in general seem to be going backwards, and it will require much more time, unfortunately, and probably another generation's worth of activism and pressure for those negative trends to be reversed.
Can you tell me how do you view the role of young people in the LGBT movement?
If there aren't young people in the LGBT movement, the movement is in trouble.
Okay.
It is the lifeblood of any social change movement to have people, to have youth and that kind of vitality on your side, and it is a constant struggle. There are so many wonderful things young people can do as activists to create positive social change. And at a time when LGBT rights are a little less endangered or a little more common in many parts of the world, ironically, it's a little bit harder to get people interested in joining the movement and putting their energy into it. And so it's really important that to get that last amount of progress that we're seeking, that young people continue to join and lend their support.
Is there a particular lesson that you've gotten from young people, if you compare, yourself at the point when you became active and when you got involved in all this? If you compare that to what young people are doing now, what is that one thing that you can get from them?
They have so much courage. When I was 16 years old, I was quite certain I was gay. I was living in a town of 12,000 people in the middle of nowhere. So far as I knew, there had never been another gay person in the history of that town, which of course there were, but that's how hidden everyone was. And to do this work now and meet people now who are that age, and to see that they're already politically active, they're open, their families accept them, and the power they have to change the world around them through their own personal example is very humbling to me personally, and that's a big part of what keeps me going in this work.
And finally, is there anything else you wanna add?
I'm terribly grateful for the opportunity to do this. You know,
Okay.
LGBT rights is a human rights issue. It applies to everyone, everywhere they live, and the Foundation has begun to do more of this work in the last few years, and it's tremendously inspiring to Judy and Dennis Shepard and to all of our team to have the opportunity to gain from other people's perspectives.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bueno, gracias. Esto fue En Contexto. Nos vemos en una semana. Soy Enrique Torre Molina. No se olviden de visitar serviciodeagencia.com.